On your days off, Glenn, you, Tommy Burgess, Ray Elgard, ever go sit behind Tube TV and watch any Degrassi Junior High back in '89?
Oh, I got a couple things. First of all, no, I haven't seen 1 minute of that show. So I do know the name, though, and I remember it. I remember it being on. So I was listening in as you guys were talking about it, and I thought, maybe I should have watched that show. It might have helped me. But no, I didn't watch any. And the other thing I got to bring up is that if we were a hockey line, okay, here's what you're going to get out of your right winger, and if that's me, you're going to get. I'll stand in front of their opposing goalie and take a beating in there, so to set up the screen, so you guys can buzz around, okay? And I'll be back checking my butt off, okay? So that is what you'll get. Now, if you look to me and say, "Hey, we need a goal," I got bad news for you.
Well, I don't know if Curtis Colson and Alec Curtis could still be playing midget hockey, I think. But I don't know on this side what we'd have for a team. But Chris knows, because we played a lot of hockey together, what you described, stand in front of the net guy and back check guy, that's good, because those are two guys I'm not. So if we have that covered with you, we're fine. The good thing about Harry, he's a workhorse like that too, but he can also play goal. So we got a guy that can play any position on the ice, literally, and also throw him in goal. It's good. Game, Glenn, Saturday. Are you calling this one?
I am, yes. I can't wait. Guys, I love this matchup. I've been thinking back to playoff matchups, and I thought when Nathan Rourke was red hot and he went into Winnipeg, that was one I was pretty excited about. But I can't think of two teams in recent memory that are as well matched as these two teams. I mean, they're two quarterbacks alone, like top guys in the top of their game. Trevor Harris, who has broken a ton of records in playoff football. He holds a ton of records: completion percentage, attempts in a game, most touchdown passes in a game. The unwavering sort of just neutral, not neutral, that's the wrong way to say it, but just a nice demeanor where he's not too high, not too low. It resonates through the whole team. And Zach's the same way. So you got two veteran star quarterbacks that can light it up, two tailbacks in AJ Ouellette and in Brady Oliveira that have very similar styles. And I just got off the phone about 20 minutes ago with a mentor of both of those guys in Andrew Harris. And Andrew Harris, of course, was in Winnipeg when he's known Brady Oliveira since he was 13 years old and made the transition to running back. And AJ Ouellette, he said he went into Toronto with AJ Ouellette there, and it could have been very contentious, but they ended up becoming really good friends right away. And both AJ and Brady are so similar in styles, and both have been mentored by Andrew Harris, he's one of the best to ever play. So you just take the quarterbacks, the tailbacks, the defenses, the coaching staffs. This is a playoff matchup like I can't remember in a long time.
So Winnipeg wins the season series. So what do the Riders have to take from the one win and forget from the two losses in order to be successful?
Well, yeah, I asked Coach that today as well. And, he said, obviously, all of those games came down. They were all close, all within striking range of either team winning. And when you look at the 3 or 4 plays that were the difference, you start to try to figure out how those plays could be correctable. And that's a great example of, if you're watching the video stream right now, you're seeing a great example of a mistake that never happens or happens very rarely. And, those type of mistakes, Mario Alford misplays a kick and the Bombers score. And, that momentum carried them in a big, big way. So you take away a couple of those plays. Now, how do you can't control kind of when they're happening. So it's twofold. One is you have to be prepared to bounce back from adversity, back from a play like that goes against you, but also be ready to try and go and make that first one, make them chase it rather than have you chase it. But again, physicality at the line, you're going to hear all about that. You're going to hear about the running game all week. It's going to be, I think either team, I don't know what's the odds right now, guys. You know the odds because
what do you want to know? What do you want to know? I got you covered, buddy. What do you need?
It's a pick 'em, isn't it?
No. Winnipeg's a 3.5 point favorite. If you want to bet the line,
the only reason I would suggest that home field. That's the only reason I would suggest.
100%.
Yeah.
Over unders 48. I think we're going to see a lot of points scored. But it's playoffs. Who knows? If there's, I don't know if we want to say a guy or maybe a unit. If there's one X factor in this one, Glenn, what is it?
Well, based on the games this year against the two teams playing against each other, the one bit of a head scratcher I had was when Saskatchewan had trouble covering down on Brady Oliveira. And it wasn't necessarily stopping the run. I think that'll be key, and you'll hear a lot of that from both teams, actually. But when they did stop the run, the Winnipeg went to the swing passes, the little screens, the hitch passes, the things that got Brady Oliveira, on those under routes and out into space. And it wasn't like he was ripping off 50-yard plays, but he was getting first downs and keeping Zach Collaros and the offense on the field. Time of possession is going to be big. So to answer your question, I would say sort of the coaching strategy. I don't know what it'll be from Corey Mace, but what is the coaching strategy to try and make sure you cover Brady out of the backfield after you stop the run on first down?
So we're in Western Canada in November, and you could get just about anything weather-wise, but the weather seems fairly decent. Does that favor anybody or hurt anybody in this matchup? The fact that it'll be a decent day?
It favors the fans.
Right. Fair.
It favors the broadcast crews and the cameramen and all of that. But
the beer sales.
I don't think either team gets an edge because of it. In fact, I don't think either team, if it was bad weather, would get the edge. That's how close these two teams are matched up. I'm glad that the stadium in Winnipeg is below ground level, much like Mosaic. So while you can still get wind in there, it's so much more mitigated than it ever has been in Winnipeg. It's almost cuts it right out there. So it shouldn't affect, even if there's a little wind, it shouldn't affect the kicking game as much as last week in both games did. I think the weather is ideal for fans. And I don't know if you guys heard it, but Dave Naylor, my coworker, he should I bring it up, guys? Should I bring it up? Because he just did a story on the best fans in Canada. And I'm reluctant. I'm very reluctant, but I'll just tell you what he said. He said it was the Bomber fans, and he said it's all the sellouts. It's how loud they get. They have a really successful hockey team in their market, and they're still supporting and going, full out on Bombers. He called this is not coming from me. Let me be clear on this. This is not a TSN thing even. Dave Naylor says the Winnipeg Blue Bomber fans are the best in the country.
Hey, they advertise it on their sideline banners. It's got to be true. Got to be.
I just wonder. I tell you what, I think the Rider fans should just register that. Just keep it close by for next.
It was us three hobos on here that talked about subjective quotes, and Winnipeg has the best sunsets, and they have the best all this. So take your best and shove it, whatever. It's all subjective anyway. Hey, it's going to be awesome. Okay, the last thing I want to ask you, though, put your coaching hat on here. Because I was getting really curious on this. If Winnipeg, what do they usually rush 3 for the most part?
3 or 4, yep. But not many blitzes.
Yeah. So there you go. What do you think Saskatchewan's game planning right now against that?
Well, they've got to. Yeah, if it were me, okay, and this is not from talking to the coach. First of all, coaches will never tell you their game plans in a playoff game. So, you can ask any way you want. It's not happening.
It's almost as useless as asking what the best fans are. But continue.
Exactly. Or asking a hockey coach, the injury status of a player. Yeah, it's lower. It's somewhere below his neck, is what we're saying. But at the end of the day, here's what I would do. I would, in the running game, attack Willie Jefferson. I would go right at him, make him be a run stopper, because he can wreck a game so quickly. He doesn't even have to make the sacks. He just gets in the throwing lane. He has a great knack to do that, best of all time. So, I would run the ball right at him on first down. And then, you're cut out. Someone muted Barney. He said enough is enough. No, you know what? That's what I would do on first down. And when it comes to Zach and it comes to getting some pressure at him, you got to make sure that the way they beat him, I think, was getting Brady out of the backfield and getting him the ball in the passing game. So they got to have a game plan for that. They have to be ready to do that. It might be man to man, but that's okay too.
Circling back to how we started this episode, when you have your 5 guys on the bench, and then sometimes the guys don't know when to hop the bench and when to go over. That's what we're dealing with right here. So we got it all. We got it all handled over here. Glenn, have a great call. Like, it's going to be beautiful weather-wise. It's going to be a heck of a game. Hopefully, you get a chance to watch the Hardy Cup a little bit as well between the U of R and U of S, because that should be a dandy as well. And we will regroup and we'll talk next week. Next week, we'll know who's going to the dance.
Yeah, absolutely. Can't wait. Thanks, guys.